Hi everyone, and welcome to week 4, our final week of our professional development course. I just wanted to thank you guys so much for making this such a great experience and for all of your help. I've been so fortunate to have such a great group of educators to work with this summer, and I really can't thank you enough. I really appreciate all of your help. So in our final week, I think this one's the most fun. We're going to be talking about supplementary word study activities. So kind of extra things that you can add into your classroom to make word study your own. And we're also going to talk a little bit about word hunts and some word study games that fit into that category as well. Now, this is where it can kind of get really overwhelming. If you Google or Pinterest or whatever you're looking at online for teacher things getting ready for the school year, if you look up word study activities or word work, you're gonna find like hundreds and hundreds of different activities and games, from very simplistic ones to ones that are going to take a long time to make, and these really fancy board games. They're all wonderful, but don't get overwhelmed. The fun thing about word study is you can really make it fit your students and fit your teaching style and fit your classroom. And I tend to go towards the simplistic approach, and my students love it. But the great thing about the variety of word study activities that there are is that the students won't get bored. So you can do one activity one week and then change it the next week, or you can kind of move things around as you see fit. You're not stuck in a workbook or stuck with this specific program where you repeat everything over and over again. There's a lot of variability and a lot of fun things you can do, and a lot of activities you can do with the students, and they don't even really realize that they're learning. They just think they're playing games. Um, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about kind of the last piece of word study that we haven't talked about at all. I think I touched on it just a smidge, but word hunts. Word hunts are by far my favorite activity for word study instruction. Word hunts are when students take their sorts that they have for the week and they look into either classroom environmental print, or they look into textbooks or things that they've been reading on their own that they're familiar with. That's the key. And they find words that fit into their sort. And they can record them on their glued sort. They can record them in their word study notebook or just on a lined piece of paper. And we're going to talk about word study notebooks a little later. But this is an excellent bridge. It seems so simple, but it's an excellent bridge between spelling and reading. The students really connect those as they're searching for words from their spelling and from their word work in their reading. So it's an excellent bridge, and it's a fun activity, and the students always love it, and trying to come up with unique examples that the teacher hasn't even thought of, or I'll make my own while they're making theirs, and we'll compare. It's just a lot of fun. So an organizational strategy for word study, a lot of people like to use word study notebooks. Now, there are many different formats. You can do this however you want. I'm actually going to use these this year. I used it in the year before, but I didn't follow through like I needed to. So this year I'm going to be starting off fresh and trying to make my own word study notebook. You can use a binder, composition books, spiral notebooks. You can find printable word study pages online, and I put some of those on the video and online resources page. But you can find all sorts of different activities that students can do in their word study notebook. Now, word study notebook can simply be a way to track the students' sorts. Instead of having them sort and glue onto construction paper and send them home, you could have them glue into their notebooks. They could glue their sorts weekly and then write in their word hunt words that they found. Students can practice sentences. They can do rhyming games where you ask them, say you start with the CVC word cat, and ask them to change one letter each time. This is called chaining. And see how long of a list of words they can make by changing one letter at a time. There are tons and tons of activities you can do in your word study journal. Younger students, letter name spellers, they can take their sort words and they can draw a picture. So say they had the word dog, draw a picture of dog and then label it. So they just call those words and pictures. There are lots of different activities, and I'm not going to overwhelm you. I put a lot of ideas into the online resources, the websites, and the videos. There's all sorts of things you can do in your word study notebook, and they will just fit into your routine however you like. But what's really cool is when you go to conferences or you have your end of the year or mid-year reports, you've got all their word study work right there in front of you. And you can really show parents, you can show different staff members, whoever you need to, clearly what you've been working on with word study. And then it can also link into written expression. Something cool, once you have students practice a word sort, you can have them go into their word study journal and write a sentence or two just saying what they learned. And this would, of course, be within word pattern. Spellers and a little higher. But they can say, today I learned that OI says oi, and it's usually in the middle of a word. But OY also says oi, but that's usually at the end of a word or the end of a syllable. And the students can kind of really write things out how they see fit and how they feel with it. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit today about some games you can play. Now this is where it can get really overwhelming. There are so many games online. I myself look online like, oh my goodness, why are there so many games? I don't want to spend 3 days just laminating things to use. So I'm going to tell you the simplest things I use in my classroom, and then I'm going to let you look on the online resources to really see what triggers your excitement, what looks good on there to you, and what would be fitting for the kinds of sorts and the kinds of learners you have in your classroom. Simplest thing ever for word sorts, a word sort memory game. All you have to do is take those cards that the students cut out on Monday or whatever day you have them do it, take out those cards, flip them all over, set them up like you're playing memory, and play a game of memory with the students. It takes, like 5 minutes? And you pick up the cards, and if I picked up boil and spoil, they go together because they have the OI pattern in the middle. And you just go around like that. Another fun game that's super simple, and for some reason my kids just love it. Every year they love it. It's called Word Bang. So same thing for this, really not much prep at all. You need a little bucket, sometimes with a lid. I have those old McDonald's Halloween ones with the little lid on it. But you put all the students' word cards from that week in the bucket. And then you have a set of like maybe 10 cards that say Word Bang. Now the key is they have to be about the same size as the word sort words. So you could use a blank sort from the word study packet or the textbook, and you could cut them out and put them in there. But anyways, put all the cards in the bucket with the word bag cards, and you shake them up. Student doesn't look, and then they pull out a card and they have to read it. Now they have to read it and tell you the spelling pattern. So if it was boy, I would say O-Y, oi. And if they can read it and tell you the pattern, they get to keep it. Now, if they pull out a bang card, they have to yell, bang, and put all of the cards they've collected back in the bucket. And the student with the most cards at the end wins. So that's always fun. They love it. You can also do that with sight words as well. Another simple thing to do is word sort bingo. Get a blank word bingo sheet. You can find it anywhere online. You can make your own. And have the students themselves write in their word sort words so they're practicing spelling them. And then play bingo. And you don't need something to you could pull the cards out. With my students, honestly, I look at their cards and I go, all right, on your board, next word is spoil. And they all put it down because it's all in different areas. And that's just a fun game as well, and super simple. Now, the word study text, Words Their Way, has all sorts of templates like this to make file folder games. And there are really lots of fun. I happen to not have mine with me. Mine are at school right now for the summer. So but there are all sorts of different games you can make just out of that template, and then there's another like half circle one as well. But if you Pinterest it or look it up online and look at my resources I put up, there are tons and tons of games. You can even modify Go Fish to make it fit. I've seen a teacher try to make Texas Hold'em with word sort words, so there's a lot of fun things that you can do with word sort games. Really countless possibilities. So I guess that's just what I had to share with you this week. I didn't want to overwhelm you. I hope I didn't. But I just want to thank you again so much for being with me over this journey here. And it's been 4 weeks and it's been great. Please feel free to email me with any questions or comments you have. If you don't feel comfortable putting them on the What Stuck With You board, that's totally fine. And our word list, look at me thinking about spelling, our to-do lists are on the blog. I'm going to email them as well for this week. Please be sure that you do all of the surveys. So there's a course pre-survey and a course post-survey, and then 2 for each of the other weeks. So there's a week 1 pre-post, week 2, week 3, week 4. If you could have all of those done, that would be amazing. That's a big data point for the project that I'm working on through this course. And thank you again so much for all your time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer. And some of you I look forward to seeing in September. All right, have a great rest of your summer. Thank you so much and happy spelling.